the psychology of it all. Learning is absolutely fulfilling. Learning, and when I became a Christian, learning at the speed of which I learned things was phenomenal. But there's also a very sober reality of when you learn. When you learn and you dig deep, sometimes you learn things that cause you to be very depressed. Sometimes you learn things that cause you to be disturbed deeply within your own soul. One of the biggest things that my Christian walk has taught me is that not everything is in a nice, neat little box. Not at all. People aren't. Animals aren't. One day versus another, it never will be. That is the one thing that impressed me. I can have a fantastic day on this day, and the very next day, I feel like I'm staring at the iron bars of the gates of hell. Like, what happened when I woke up after a beautiful day yesterday? I have no idea. The psychology of sin, the psychology of getting enjoyment out of something that we know is wrong. I marvel at humanity when you hear people say things, when people tell you things and you're going, wait a minute, this isn't hard. I'm dumb, but I'm not stupid. And the problem that you're defining to me that you have, you can solve this. Somebody complaining to me about people won't help her financially, her and her kids, but then a gambling problem. Well, why in the hell would I give you money when you're going to go and pour it in a slot machine or scratch cards? That means I'm really dumb. Stop spending the money that you make on foolishness. I'm amazed at how many people in Augusta, Georgia, mooching cigarettes, mooching money off people, and they're addicted to cigarettes, addicted to weed, addicted to alcohol. And when you say, dude, I don't loan out money, and they get pissed. So I'm going to give you money so you can get high or buy a pack of cigs. Tell me how that makes rational sense one more time. Tell me. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm here to turn the light on the subject. We're living in a day and age where people's minds are so jacked up that when you come up against them, they're looking at you like you're crazy. We are in different times. We are in different thinking. I have paid attention to my own channel. People always say, not everybody, but there are some that come on my channel, man, this guy lacks self-awareness. The person making that comment lacks basic brains 101. If you can't watch my channel and hear the confessions I make about myself and the deep, dark struggles that I have, if you listen to that and it missed you, then something isn't working in the neurotransmitter department. I don't know what to tell you, bud. That's on you, not me. And you don't have people getting on this internet doing what I do. It's dangerous. Being vulnerable, being authentic. I almost said awesome. America, by and large, and society cannot handle that. That's why I go to church today. Sunday's my day of a little bit of depression. Friday, you're excited. I got a weekend. Sunday, part of the day is lamenting that I have to go back to work tomorrow. The curse. But I try to find the praise. I work on a jigsaw puzzle. I call friends. I do YouTube. I say, you know what, God, I thank you that I have a job. It isn't my dream job, but it does pay the bills. Praise your name. But, God, if you're interested, could you please put me into something that I really like? I want to talk. What do you want to do with it? I wish I could be on the radio or speak before 80,000 people in a dang convention center. I wish. And I wish I could just wear my own flair and rock my own style and challenge people to think. Will that happen? I don't know. The psychology of sin. You know, the Bible talks about the mystery of lawlessness. What the heck is that? Why is sin so appealing? What did the fruit look like that the serpent came to Eve and said, look? And Satan appealed to the very core of what drives most women today. And it's this belief. Don't hold out on me. I'm equal. I'm a woman. I can do things even better than a man. Don't hold out on me. And Satan appeared to her, said, know ye not, you shall be as God. He appealed to her on the thing that, hey, if God's so good, why won't he tell you what good and evil is? Eve, what's the problem? She really wanted to know that, didn't she? I am a product of that decision. And so are you. We talk about politics, we talk about sexuality, we talk about sexuality and upheaval, and it is. Even in my life. I've lived alone so long. I've had to challenge myself in the last 7 years of absolute problem solving with no help. No guidance, and no, I didn't always watch a YouTube video to cheat. There were things that I came into in this house that drove me nuts, and I'd get mad and throw a hissy fit. And in time, God showed me, and I was able to accomplish the task. Well, there's something about men and women that's called versatility. We talk about a sport utility vehicle. You know, can be driven in the city and driven in the mountains. Michael can live in the mountains. Michael can live in Hong Kong. Michael can live in the city, and I will adapt to where I'm at. They say Irish are very good at assimilating into other cultures. There are things that I don't like about every culture, but there are things I love. And I, even in a sinful way, have learned to adapt. You can't get a pretty woman. Most of your slender, petite, pretty women are high maintenance, have an attitude or a bad attitude. There's no way I could please them, and I'm not worthy enough to date them. And then you get all the trolls that come on here talking about my dress. Well, if you didn't dress like that, you'd probably get a girlfriend. Hey, dum-dum. This has been going on for years before I did the dressing. And I find myself, even in the sin arena as a Christian, I admit, I believe in adaptation, not in an evolution context, but humans. If you look at most people, I have a book on my shelf in the bedroom called True North. It's a very good book. Did you know that most people, whether you're a gangster or in the hood, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're, whatever, a sports star, everybody's brain has an ability to recalibrate itself in order for survival. Now, by that I mean, it doesn't mean your thinking is right. But it's like if you have a house that's leaning over, say from the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, and I saw that house when I was a kid. I don't know if it's still there, but it was up on Nob Hill or Telegraph Hill or whatever they call it. And it, how many years later is leaning? And all the people did was go in and level out the floors so they could live in it. Fascinating. The house is not straight, but the floors are. And that's what people do with their conscience. Every one of us is guilty. We can be mean and cutting to somebody and we can rationalize it and justify it, even though God's word says, that wasn't very nice. We justify it. I am very honest. I don't love all my enemies. I do not. I pray that God will save them, but I don't believe they will get saved. If you want my honest opinion, there's some enemies I wish every time they went to the bathroom it felt like 1,000 cactuses were going through their intestines. I think that would be a fair and reasonable treatment for what they've done to me. And I struggle with even that. God, how come you don't shut these things down? My ex-wife, this foreskin that likes to come on my channel regularly and do what he does. How come he doesn't just helicopter parent and move in and shut it down? See, for my enemies that are hearing this, say, oh, see, God doesn't exist. Well, he didn't shut down Hitler right away either, but guess what? Hitler eventually got shut down. Stalin, Lenin, clowns. Nothing but clowns. Xi Jinping, a clown. Kim Jong-un, a clown. Thinking that they're overlords. And you got people coming into my chat that defend Democrat and socialism and communism. Like, wow. Historically, it's never worked. Even me, I have a dark struggle with sexual purity. I like looking at two pretty lesbians embracing, kissing, caressing sweetly each other. It meets a need in a surrogate, wrong sort of a way. My orgasms are much more intense because I adapted to the culture. Man, you're not going to get a girlfriend. Even on air, there's people that are friends and have been friends for a while, and they've watched the dynamic of what goes on in chat, the flirting, the dynamic. And many have asked me, what became of this? I said, nothing. Humans feel safe flirting in a group. When it's one-on-one, that evaporates. I've analyzed it well, and other people have said it in the chat. E-Rock even said it. A lot of women in our society, we all have a gas tank or a fuel tank. And when it starts to run empty, we want to fill it. Women like attention. They like to be noticed. All of us want attention, like to be noticed. But with women, it takes on a different construct. And a lot of women use the man's heart to get the compliments, to get their attention deficit gas tank back on full. And once it's full, they put that thing into drive and they drive off. It's almost a type of whorishness. Using somebody. Playing with the hearts. There's a song, is it by Lorna? I don't know who sings it. Who do you think you are running around leaving scars, collecting your jar of hearts? I find it funny that a woman sings that, but really a man should have come out with that. I believe that more women collect jars of hearts than we men. A guy I work with who has a crush on somebody in the office, and that has gone absolutely nowhere. He has been giving me the play-by-play as a sports commentator would on a football game. It's become its own little stupid soap opera. When she sits in the Wednesday lunch, she's got her back to everybody. If you say anything to her, she seems to be irritated that she's been bothered. She fidgets with her hands a lot. She's not a 10. She's extremely slender, toothpick skinny. I wouldn't want to see her naked. And he has a thing on her, but then he'll tell me throughout the week, oh, I got a date this Friday. I mean, this guy, he's black. He gets a date. He's got dates. He's got women hitting on him all the time. And the kind of women that are hitting on him are not any of the kind of women that I would even be remotely interested in. They use a term out here, they're curvy in the right places. Different strokes for different folks. A lot of what they define as curves are more akin to a trunk and a shelf. And God has made different people. That doesn't move me. I'm more into androgynous women that are slender like me, not into the big hips. Big here is nice, except when you get older. The flatter or smaller breasted women are incredibly, intensely erotic to me. I like long hair woman. And yet, through my experiences, most of those women that are pretty like that, they have no interest in me. And for a long time, I went through life believing there's something wrong with me. And the trolls, of course, they're the experts on me. They're bona fide psychologists, doctors, and whatever. Say, well, you got mental problems. I actually don't have mental problems at all. My mind works very well. I have problems? Absolutely. Manifold. But I pull my big boy pants on and face the day. And I've learned to adapt because I've heard all of the Christian nonsense regarding lust and masturbation and PORN, and none of the stuff that people come up with seems to work. And there's been book after book. Steve Arterburn, Every Man's Battle. There's a book by Neil T. Anderson called Bondage Breaker that I read, and he says you need to renounce what your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents did if they played with a Ouija board. The scripture does not teach that at all. In the Old Testament, God said a time is coming where the son will not be responsible for the sins of his father, but his own. I'm not responsible for my ancestors that I don't even know. I'm adopted. What am I going to renounce? And what good does that do? I didn't play with the Ouija board. If somebody in my past called up spirits, that has nothing to do with me. People come up with such innate foolishness in the church, out of the church. Evolution is foolishness. A lot of Christians believe in superstition and poppycock. And every one of us struggles with sin. Maybe it's not lust. Maybe it's pride. Maybe it's materialism. Gluttony, an addiction, a vice. A lot of alcoholism among Christians. A lot of drug use among Christians. A lot of gambling problems with Christians. And you got people that listen to me that are living with their girlfriend or boyfriend and they're not married. And they're having regular bed sex. That's wrong in God's eyes. And there are some churches that would teach, how can you be a Christian and do these things? Very easily. Very easily. Very easily. This is the problem. You got what I call extremists, evangelical churches out there that if you sin, you might not be saved. You got a guy like Paul Washer out there, and that guy is off the beam. He is probably one of the most joyless preachers I've ever heard in my life. And I cannot listen to him. He's an extremist. He believes in lordship salvation. He believes if you're truly saved, you stop sinning. But if you pin him down, well, nobody's perfect. So then what are you saying, Paul? Do you come down hard on the sins you don't struggle with? And he said that Facebook and social media was for little girls and sissies and guys should get off of it. Yeah, well, Paul, walk in my shoes before you open your mouth. Walk in my shoes. And there are Christian men in suits and ties that preach Sunday morning, come on my channel and see what I'm doing, and they would judge me. Their congregations go nowhere. They preach the choir. It doesn't grow. The people in the church don't change. They don't use their turn signal. They don't drive the speed limit. They're doing all their stuff. I've got a friend right now. I love her dearly. She joined a Baptist church, the membership. She's involved with VBS. She's in the choir. And on the weekend, she goes to sleep and shack up with her boyfriend. I said, how does that work for you? I just asked her. I wanted to know. She goes, well, I think all of us sin. And people would ask the question, what would her pastor say? Her pastor would probably tell her to get out of the church. Because that's an old school Baptist church out in the country. And churches don't exercise church discipline. But I've also seen it go to extremes. I went to Beth Eden Baptist Church years ago. And there was a guy that I had spoken to on the phone. He wrote a book about Christian rock and why a lot of it was not good. And I had a conversation, very nice man. Well, apparently he divorced his wife. And he and his wife were now going to the Beth Eden Baptist Church. I didn't know that. I was visiting on and off when I came back from Hong Kong. And I went there for several reasons. The pastor did preach truth. He did have legalism, and you had to filter through that. But I didn't know it. I don't know what the reason was the guy divorced his wife, but the majority of the church was taken up on a Sunday morning. This should have been done not on a Sunday morning. This should have been done with, the regular membership on, like, say, a non-church day. But I don't believe what he did was right. They were excommunicating him from the church because he was divorcing his wife. And even when I ran into this pastor, and he was from West Virginia, and I've got something to say about it. I like West Virginia, but there's some weird thinking that comes out of that state. I've ran into that quite a bit. I came into church and he said, so how's your wife? And he knew I was divorced because my ex and son moved out to Colorado in 2009 and they were attending there. And she went in there and told everybody a big old bunch of lies. Everybody formed an opinion about me, which is what that church does. They don't listen to facts, they listen to gossip, and especially if it comes from a female. And a family that I was friends with that owns a construction company, he came up and said, well, she said this. I said, Mike, I'm not judging. I said, forget about that. Did any of you call me or contact me to ask my side of the story? They did not. And that is most of the churches today. This pastor at the church I go to now, he is rare. 2 women were using, does anybody have any prayer requests? And women are good at this. They use prayer request time as a time to gossip and make it known to everybody there's something wrong in the home. I want to request prayer for my husband because he's got a problem with alcohol. I'm going to stop you right now, ma'am. You guys are talking about your husbands in here? And I've got a boatload of people, men, that no longer come to this church because all of you talk about your men. This is not the place for that. Wow. My pastor actually stood on something. Women beat up on us and they get away with it all through society. And the church is no exception. And the minute I walk in, all the women are like, oh my gosh, he's in here. They not only don't know that what she said wasn't true, they never knew and don't know who I am. So the pastor come up to me and he said, how's your wife? I said, I'm divorced, right? You know that I'm divorced. You know that. So she's not my wife. I said, I put her away with a certificate of divorce. And he was quiet. He came from Bob Jones University, which is a very uptight campus. You can pull up videos. It's extreme. And my Christian life, I have been on all ends of the teeter-totter. I've been in the lovey-dovey churches that God doesn't judge anybody. I've been in the churches that the whole entire congregation suddenly erupts into and they call out tongues. I've been in a congregation in West Virginia, suits and ties, women with buns in their hair, dresses, and all of a sudden something dropped on the floor and people were jumping over the pews, running around the choir loft, and grown businessmen running around acting silly with big sweat marks under their suits and ties, hot West Virginia. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh, this is praise time. Okay. And then I come on here and I dance. And that really seems to be a sin with so many of the men. A woman got on my channel when I did the storm out there the other day. And came in, the power was out. I can't take you seriously. I went to her channel and I said, well, then don't come on my channel and comment. That is rude. Thank you. And I removed the comment. You can't take me seriously because you see a top I'm wearing. The damage that has been done to me in my 60 years by Christians and non-Christians and teachers and people and my mother and my father, relatives in the family, exes, bosses, employers. You know what? There has never in my life been closure to any of it. Even now, currently, one of the owners of the company, and I don't hate him, but he's a genre of people that in real life, we'd never be friends. He has made a comment. I came into the shipping office and I said, I was being blown out that day with too much to do. I said, man, I wish there was 2 of me. The supervisor, who's white, the black guy who handles pallet freight, and the owner all said, oh no, we don't need 2 of you. 1 is too much. And my spirit just was crushed. I said, you know how much I get done? Oh no, we like that. But we could not handle 2 of you. And the black guy said, if there's two of you, I'm quitting. I've never done anything to these guys. My energy, the way I do things, is alarming to them. And I walked out and I texted my supervisor. I said, that was BS. And I used profanity. I said, I worked my butt off here. To be put down by all of you like that is not okay. Society is so nasty to people. And once in a while, the person who was treated so bad becomes the hero, rescues a bunch of people that if he hadn't done it, they would have died. Now you're going to judge him because he's not just like you? I deal with truck parts, and I'm amazed. There's the same basic core of a truck, engine, chassis, transmission. But yet every truck is different. Every item is different. Some things are not standard. This company makes their own or furnishes their own starter or alternator. And when we get to people, we have to be careful because I am different and I accept that. But one of the side advantages of me being different, my energy at 60 is massive. What I get done in a workday is more than most people my age, half my age, or come out of high school. So you can criticize the fact I'm not just like your boring ASS self. Or you go, you know what, Mike is different, but we've been blessed to have him here at this time. People are nasty. And the supervisor said something. The owner said, or the supervisor said, Mike, meet us in the break room. We need to have a meeting. Went in there, and the owner said, I heard that you felt that I don't like you. I said, well, look at what you just said. I said, do you know how I've been told that all my life? And I called my name. I said, I'm kind of tired of it. I said, I come in here and I work my butt off, and no, I'm not just like you. I'm sorry. When I come into the office and you're so focused on what you're doing, you can't even turn. Hi, Mike. I'm sorry. I don't want to be like you. You're boring. And y'all making millions of dollars off of this place, and you can't even give us a decent raise. And the other day I went to the time clock, and the window faced his desk, and he goes, I opened the door and I said, I'll tell you what, I got a deal for you. You give me a generous raise, I'll cut my hair. Well, I was just saying that, and he did some backpedaling, whatever. I don't have to be like anybody else. In this society, there's no requirement for my hair length in a warehouse. None. And I'm so tired of a society that wants to make us a bunch of minions. You got to dress a certain way. You got to do this to make shitty $1 an hour. I'm tired of it. Take your little coat and shove it up your butt. What is the difference between me as a Christian and that world out there? If the answer is nothing, then you might as well close this, quit going to church, and forget about it. What does being a Christian look like? A suit and tie? Calling yourself reverend? Making $10 million, $50 million because you're a great Bible expositor? While I go to work and I work harder physically than the preacher ever does? and I'll never be a millionaire. What is the priorities in our society? What is the standard? The older I get, and I am not a socialist, I'm not a communist, but I also think there is problems of capitalism, runaway greed. Bezos is way up the food chain financially. Elon Musk just hit trillionaire status. For what? I don't think life is fair. It damn well ain't fair at all. It's hooked. And it works against us. But yet, hold it. There's Christians out there. They wear the suit and tie. They say, I'm doing well. Their investment portfolio's this big. They don't have the troubles I'm out like. So God, you say about partiality. Do you have favorites, God? Jacob I loved, Esau I hated. What is that? It forces you to dig deep. It forces you to ask, is God unfair? No. But does it look like he blesses some of the lamest, superficial? Absolutely. Go to my church. You got people that are rolling into money. They don't have a heart and a passion for this book like I do. They do not struggle with the sins I do, but they sure struggle with others that they are grossly, seemingly unaware of. So this is why I said, does it matter what I wear? Or if I put lipstick? No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. Me wearing the right clothes is not going to get me the right money. I've learned this over 60 years. You are either part of the club or you're not. Or God comes down and does something supernatural against all of the logical common sense things and blesses me. Which is it? There is favoritism. How do you have a son who's 20-something years old or 30? His father handed him the business. He's automatically a millionaire. Did he earn it? Did he work for it? No. He's an inheritor because he's an heir. I wish I was an heir. But guess what? As a Christian, I am. We don't think about that on this earth. We get up, that big burning ball of sun is in your face. It's hot. We don't sit on no throne. We don't got no easy street. Got to get the truck in. Got to do this. Got to replace the air conditioner. Got to do that. Got to do this. And then you go to church and you get around all those other people. The ugly couple that can't get along. Both of them overweight. And I'm going to be very honest with what I say. They're not beautiful. She looks frumpy and dumpy. He looks frumpy and dumpy. And he's crusty. And now he's trying to fake it. Morning, Mike. How you doing today? Save it. Save it. The genuineness or lack of it at a lot of the people in my church is unbelievable. That you can look in a face, and most people cannot. People who exude certain things in their body language fail to understand. I'm reading the billboard that is your countenance. I'm not listening to this. The body language, and I learned this only after I went abroad. When you live in China and you don't know Cantonese, and you look at people, you make a determination, is this person approachable or do I move on? I saw a working man, Chinese guy, and they have public toilets. And I was in an area of Hong Kong. All I did was walk up. I said, what did I say? Ngoi sai, or, which is excuse me. And he looked friendly. I said, toilet? Ah, toilet! And he point, and I see the Chinese lettering, and I see public toilet. Ah, doje, doje, and on I go. Only after I lived in Hong Kong did I start to study women and look at them and say, that woman you think is pretty, watch her body language. Read it. And you can't do that in chat. I'm not sitting across from them. Many people come to chat to play the biggest game ever. I've made deductions in my own mind, watching the dynamics of my own chat. Can I be honest? Sometimes there are elements of it that depress me. I go, maybe I ought to just turn it off. But I care about people, so I don't. I love to speak. That's my passion. I do not love going to a warehouse and I say my job is a sweatshop because I'm sweating all day. They make tons of money. And that's okay. And I'm not a socialist. But as a Christian, when you're getting rich, at the back of the slaves that you hired, we can talk about profit sharing. We can talk about they gave us Good Friday off this year with pay. That's nice. But I've noticed even among Christians, they'll drop a few little more crumbs from the table. And I'm sure that these Christians probably tithe and give above and beyond to their churches and ministries. Why are you not treating those that are giving you all that wealth and bumping them up to make them have a positive attitude? Not one person in there is happy with their pay. Everybody's talking about it. And we're expected every Friday to fill out the little weekly thing, and it's got the little happy and sad faces and all that. I brought up once about, can we get higher pay? That's ignored. I don't bring it up again because, unfortunately, when you do those little surveys, you put a target on your back. There are 2 people currently looking for other employment. If we lose the one, he's an asset. He's a younger guy. He's weird. He's different, but he works. And he works daily. And he does his job well. The other one is a black guy. And he is good at what he does. And I have gotten mad at God sometimes, said, how is it that Christians can chump us on the pay? And then they come down and tell us about every mistake and this and that. You want us to do all this. And I'm going to say something right now. Why is labor in the United States treated as second class compared to pencil pushers in offices and towers? Why is that? Does God respect a man who went to college more than a guy who's a mule and pushes the weight in a place every day? Things got so bad in Egypt that God himself arose from his throne and said, this is coming to an end. How come God doesn't come down right away sometimes and say, you're cheating my servants? You should pay them more. Look at the cost of groceries. Look at the cost of fuel. And then you're showing up in new cars as if to slap them in the face. And these aren't, a Dodge Neon. This isn't a Chevy Impala. No, it's a Denali. When you open the tailgate, the top part opens, the bottom part, and it comes down hydraulic. And it's got computers all over the dash. And your speed limit is on your windshield now. And one guy shows up in a Tesla. Those are 70, 80,000. And I've said it. I don't believe in socialism But I am of the opinion that if I had a successful company, how much do I need for me versus the people that are slugging it out? And I do get upset. And I'm not going to go and blow at the bosses over that. I have to entrust myself to a faithful creator and say, God, you know what we're doing. You know how it's... They're all sitting in air-conditioned offices all day. And they'll put an order together. One that I'm pulling, their heads, their injector heads. $148 for $108,000. And they're used, not brand new. Some of the stuff that we have, others don't have, and the markup is incredible. We see the tickets. We see what the order costs, and I'm just going, you got to be kidding me. Why can't we get a raise? I'm in the South. I'm not at $20 an hour. Not even. And society treats people that do manual labor as less than. I tell you what, if you want to bring every company to its knees, have all the common workers just walk out for a week. They charge as much for their product that they want. They make sure and pad their profit margins. My health care, they made it a point to tell us how much the company pays a month and how much I pay. But then when you get the thing in the mail and it tells me what I get, I'm like, so basically I have nothing until a crisis hits or I've reached the deductible. It's stupid. And you can thank Obama for that crap. If you're going to not give us a pay, at least give us the health care where we don't have to pay a deductible. One thing that I miss about transportation is I get sick days, for so many hours, and I never used them except when I was really sick, like with COVID. When I left Denver, I think I had 300 sick hours. I didn't take a sick day in 7 years. This place, I have to work a full year before I get a week of 5 days of vacation or 5 sick days. And if I don't use the sick days by December, you lose the sick day or the vacation days and they add it onto your paycheck. So at least that's nice. But they don't want you to take off. That's what's really funny. They said, if you stay at work, we'll buy back your vacation day. I'll tell you what, how about if you go an extra mile? If I don't go and do scheduled appointments and stuff on my time and take a day, why don't you give me that day plus a day pay on top of that? And the profit sharing, everybody's talked about that. Have you guys ever looked at profit sharing? It is minuscule. It's peanuts on a United Airlines flight. You ever seen the little bag of peanuts? It's a joke. And when I came back from Guam to Hawaii, it was not considered international. 7 hours in the air. You don't get free food. I'm like, that is so lame. United sucks. Used to be the leader, one of the leaders. And when I got to Honolulu, I went downstairs and went to a Japanese restaurant, got my fried rice and some spring rolls. I said, this is cheaper than what you pay for the flight food and better. And wouldn't you know, I run into somebody from Denver Public Schools calling my name in Honolulu. Mike. Now, who's calling me in Hawaii? Oh my gosh. What are you doing here? I was just going to ask you the same thing. I'm coming back from the Philippines. She is lesbian, married to her lover. She was a problem employee to me when I was there. Never did anything to her. There was a redhead, slender girl that kept flirting with me, coming up and touching me. She was a bus monitor. And she drew me a picture of a mermaid, and she liked my medallions and liked my hair, and on and on and on. Then she told me she had a boyfriend. Then one day she asked me, can you pick me up? I said, where are you at? And it was reasonably close to the house, but I still had to go out of the way. So I pulled up, I texted, I'm here, nothing. I thought, I'm not waiting past 10 minutes. I drove off. She didn't come and say, I'm sorry. I waited. 2 days I said, hey, I went to your house the other day. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't feel good, so I didn't go in. But thanks for letting me know. And let me tell you how jacked up our society is. She drew me a mermaid picture with the ship and the ocean. Very well done. So Valentine's Day came. And I bought her a card. You probably think this is a love Valentine. And you open it up, said, it isn't. It's just a happy Valentine's Day card. So thank you for the mermaid drawing. I really appreciate that. Didn't put love, didn't put hearts. And I got her a little box of the stupid Russell Stover chocolates. I was called in the office after my morning rounds that morning by Nita. Hey, Mike. She never called me Mr. Mike. I liked that. I got a little problem. And she told me. Apparently you gave a card and some chocolates and somebody was uncomfortable with that. 2 women came to my office. I said, 2? And she mentioned Nancy, the one I saw in Hawaii. Nancy was a biatch. She talked and she was not pretty. She was grossly overweight. Nothing attractive in or out of her. She was a good employee, that's it. I never did anything to her. Never. And Nita told me the accusation. I said, Nita, let me tell you what's been going on. She come up and touched me. I like your necklace, grabs the necklace. I like you, you're cool. She asked me for a ride, blew the ride. I gave her this card. I said, did you see that card? She goes, well, that's none of my business. I said, I'm making it your business. Open that card. Oh, thank you for letting me see this. That explains. I said, and what is Nancy doing in here? Well, apparently, and I figured it out, Nancy's anti-man. When you go to work, man, you got women that hate you just the fact you showed up. Isn't that fun? Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you're just a good employee. You got lesbian, feminist, anti-male. They're going to be the devil at your back. And this slob of a woman, and I'm going to call her that, because she looked like a big frumpy yuck. And she had coached this girl to go and tell on me. And Nita said something interesting. She was complaining about you, and she goes, but I don't want him to not talk to me. I like Mike, and I want him to be my friend. I said, Nita, she told you that? She goes, I did. And when she said that, I kind of thought, what's really going on here? Your card has just given me all I need. I said, could you call into your office and tell her to do not talk to me at all? Michael, I can do that and I will. She goes, you've done nothing wrong. I'm sorry about this. This is ridiculous. Note to self, do not buy a white girl a gift in the workplace ever, no matter what. Don't draw me no pictures. Don't touch my necklace. Don't put your white hands on me. I was furious. And I told some of my friends, and they said, you got to watch these chicks in here, Mike. They are looking to be our downfall. I said, man, I just gave her a thank you card. I went home, and I walked into my room. I grabbed that pirate ship picture and destroyed it. I don't want nothing to do with that. And then a year later, she's trying to be freshy with me. She was paired up with me. We had to put stickers on the stepwell of the buses. And I looked at her, I said, can I ask you something? You're being all friendly to me, but you went and reported me because I gave you a thank you card. Did you even read the card? Well, Nancy encouraged me. I said, of course she did. I said, are you into women or men? Well, I kind of had an attraction to women. I said, okay, fair enough. But why did you try to get me in trouble? I've never done anything to you. I know, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, well, la-di-da. Did you ever come up and apologize? I didn't say all that. And then what was really interesting is it was a hot day and we were pulling stickers and I gave her some and I could smell a whiff of BO and I thought, oh, yeah, you're cute, aren't you? Now I smell that. And I've seen that. And I've seen what you did. Caucasian women, I'm going to say it here on my channel. I have given Caucasian women chance after 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 chance, even on this channel. And I'm sick and tired of saying not all women are like this. No, most of them are, though. Most. They play games. You show an interest. They suddenly make distance from that. I watched somebody flirt me up one day, and they're not flirting the next day. What is this bipolar elevator up, elevator down, breaker goes on, the breaker goes off? Why do white women have that? Black women don't do that crap to me. Asian women don't do that to me. And when I went into that hair product store and that cute older Asian woman, I thought, I need to start looking at Asian women that are here, that are single, that aren't crazy. That would probably, they like to keep their house clean. But Augusta does not have a lot of that. Apparently there's a community of them here. I just don't know where they are. And when a white woman comes on criticizing the makeup and the dress and my hair, I just look at them and go, as if you are the standard. But I noticed something when I moved to Hong Kong. I noticed something. There is no Cosmopolitan. There's no People and Us and the National Enquirer or Elle magazine at the checkouts. They don't exist over there. And yet, when I lived in Hong Kong, I saw beautiful Chinese women that dyed their hair blonde, grew up all the makeup on their face. And I was like sad. Why are these women trying to look like white girls? The Filipino women buying the whitening soap. I don't like my brown skin. Honey, do you know how much white women pay to go to a damn tanning salon? And when they're 40 years old, they look like beef jerky. Because they ruin their skin. All the women that have scarred me the most have been Caucasian. Yeah, I had a bad experience in Hong Kong, but that's my own fault. I saw the warning signs. The dash lights came on. And I chose to drive anyway. My fault. But white women, they're extremely seductive. They're extremely good at what they do. They start off with all the compliments. They act like they're genuinely into you. And then they turn. Look at soap operas. There you go. They didn't have black soap operas. They didn't have Asian soap operas. Did you notice that? Just white ones. Thunderclap, mic drop. Why? Because women like drama in American culture. They like to drop the match on a can of gas. They like to play with my heart and yours and everybody else's. And then they'll go to their lady friends. He thinks he can get a date with me. And their lady friends don't say, well, you know what, honey? I saw you flirting with him. Don't come back to me with that. You shouldn't have been doing that. Women are very unobjective when it comes to each other. I've seen it in every workplace I've worked. I get sad. Because sometimes in my own spirit, I get so weary and say, you know what, God? I'm not rich. I'm not going to go live in Tahiti. I'm not going to have the life that I want. I'm entrapped between your sovereignty, my choices, and society's choices for me. I was going to go to bed last night. Somebody called. And I'm not gaslighting her. She's my friend. But I'm going to talk about these things. Name and mention. Woman, middle-aged. Got some personal struggles. Living in a property that her folks own. Moves in her boyfriend, who's not working. She had a fight with him last night and was telling me he wanted to buy this, that, and she's paying for it. And she's not working, she's on disability, and I put that in quotes, because she's not disabled. And I have to listen to stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, my dad's getting upset. I said, he should. I said, if I was your dad, I'd say, look, you have no business dating a guy right now in your condition. Number one. Number two, that man doesn't have a job. Number three, he needs to get his ass out there and be a man like I and everybody else, all us other men had to do. Well, but he has nowhere to go. That's not your dad's problem. You made the problem for your parents who are good enough to let you stay there and not pay a dime of rent while you're costing them in utilities and heating. I'm amazed how many women in our society just don't get it. And then they judge us. You got all these reasons why you can't quit this and quit that and quit that. But they won't do the basic stuff. I'm scared to death of what could happen if I moved a woman into my house. I was blessed with Tina, but you're not going to find Tina. You're not going to have that. And I watch and I pay attention. I had something happen in Hong Kong that I'm going to share with you. I do talk too much. Absolutely. There was a gal I was seeing over there named Jenny. And there's a lot about Jenny I didn't know. Jenny liked to hang out with me on a Saturday, on her day off. We got intimate quite a few times. And then I moved from Hong Kong Island over to Lantau in the village of Moi Wah, and I rented from the hairstylist over there. The hairstylist was a Filipino, but she was very much tomboy. She used a Nepalese Hong Kong citizen to get a Hong Kong ID. They had a mutual agreement where they married each other. She got the ID and then she dumped his butt. She rented me a room in her home for 2 months. And one thing about Philippine culture that I have to say, they're not quiet. I listen to Filipina B once in a while. And the barking dogs and the noise that goes on, I'm like, I could not live in her village. It is just motorbikes. And like, how do you get up at 4 in the morning when that crap doesn't stop until well into midnight? And I love the Philippines. But I've also, enough time went by when I was involved with Beth and Kate. I said to Jenny, Kate, oh my gosh, she came in late on the last ferry from Central Hong Kong. I'm asleep and I hear the front door slam and she come in and turn her music so loud and was talking on the phone full blast. I opened the door, I said, Kate, Mike, what's wrong? I said, it's like midnight 30, what's all this? And there are people saying, that's her home. I don't care, I was paying her rent. What the hell? Then I told Jenny, she did that several times. Well, Jenny got upset at me and went and told her that. I was there one day, I cooked my dinner, Kate come in at a reasonable hour. Mike out! I need to talk to you. Okay. You know, I know why she did this, and I'm seeing right through it. But you told somebody that I came in and made noise. I said, yeah, she's my friend. I told her. I said, why you do that? I'm paying you rent. I ain't sitting in here freeloading. Why would you do that to somebody? If you were living in my home, I came in at midnight, I'm going to be quiet as a mouse. Why would you do that? And she yelled. Everybody on the 2 floors above us, I'm sure, heard her. Well, I need you to find another place to live. I said, I will. We were done and I stepped outside and I called Luna. I said, I got a problem. You know, Michael, I warned you about Jenny. I'm going to have a talk with her and I'm going to let her know. But I'm sorry. We'll find you a place. So the next day I left early. I went out and I was doing my networking with the people I had. I got to find a place. I'm going to my favorite spot to eat and my phone rings. Michael, Kate. I said, hey, Kate, did you find a place? I said, no, ma'am. Forget about what happened last night, Michael. You're a good tenant. You pay me. Just, if you want to stay, you can stay. I said, thank you, Kate. I'm not trying to offend you. No, Michael, forget about it. I was wrong. I was wrong. I closed my phone and said, oh, God, thank you. My God will supply all of my needs, even when I was in disobedience and sinning by sleeping with the ladies. I did not sleep with Katie. There was none of that. But I stayed there 1 more month, and I didn't tell her. Mouse found me a place, and I moved out. And I moved out. There was an older woman there. Kate had a friend, came to stay, and Kate said, I'm going to sleep at the salon. It's Chinese New Year, it's too cold. I don't want to take the ferry. She had a cot in her salon. Michael, there's a lady who's going to come stay, very nice. Talk to her, make her feel at home. And that lady talked to me, she was extremely nice. And Mouse and I came in one day, Went to go get my stuff. The weather was nasty. The wind was blustery. It was raining, and I went down to Kate's to give her the key. And she looked at me horrified. Michael, I didn't know. I said, well, I want to give you your space. Thank you for letting me live there. And she was hurt. And she called me the next day. Michael, come down to the shop, please. I have something for you. She gave me a bracelet that I still have in my drawer somewhere. Michael, that woman that stayed, she said, Michael's so very nice to me. He showed me nothing but respect. And I'm sad when I see him come with his friend and move out. I feel safe, Michael, here. He a grown man. He didn't try to take advantage of me. Nobody has my back. Not here. Not here. Not out there. Not my family, not my son, not my ex, not my mother who's still alive, not my sister, not my other sister. Only one has me in his hand. And that's a sobering reality in a world where women have likes and friends and hearts and all their little social activity going on. I know that wherever I go, I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death everywhere. I've seen it right here. All the women showing interest and then flit off. I could name over a dozen since the channel started. Some of them never come back. Some of them, I never was rude or disrespectful to any of them. I'm glad that in spite of my sorry self, God made me strong enough, because I'll tell you what, people want to get on here and make fun of me and all the trolls and the death threats. None of these buttholes that get on this channel have any idea that I have a strength that goes beyond. Most people, if they were to go through what I went through, would kill themselves. When you're in a foreign country and somebody says they want you to move out because she was an emotional basket case, and the next day she relents and apologizes, people tell me there's no God. My God is an awesome God. He showed up in Hong Kong. He shows up in Augusta. Let somebody try to put their hands on me. You better hope that God doesn't come and strangle your neck and pop it like a zit. God has, and He does have me in His hand. And I don't think I'm a tough guy. And I'm concerned when I see the trolls and threats that I'm beginning to see we have a very violent America, even among conservatives and Christians. If you don't believe me, look at Hollywood's affected us all. I don't like gratuitous violence. I don't play violent video games. I have no interest in that. The problem is I have an interest in a pretty woman, and you're not allowed to do that today because pretty women aren't responding. And I do have damage. When you can't get what you need, you find a surrogate. And all these church pastors that are condemning the men for looking at naked women online, pictures, whatever, they fail to get to the root of the problem. Churches are out of touch with American women, and they're silent about the misdeeds, sins, attitudes, and beatitudes of American women. Several of you tell me how smart and intelligent I am. I thank you for that. That's only by God's grace. But I watch the chat. I pay attention. The game players. The people trying to get my attention. And then I look and go, she's cute. Well, maybe we could get to know each other. No. It's all games. It's all BS. It's all somebody wanting their gas tank filled, used, and life goes on. Or the woman who says, I can't take you seriously. I go to her channel, look at her picture, and I'm like, honey, I wouldn't even date you. So who cares a shh? I find it interesting, and I'm not talking about one I have private conversation with. So don't think this is about you. All these women and people telling me, why don't you monetize? Why don't you monetize? Why don't you get Cash App and make a donation? That's the deeper question. You want to tell me how to get it done, but you're not willing to donate a penny to the channel? I'm not trying to guilt, but I just find that a fascinating thing. Do you know what's involved with the monetizing? Check it out. It's ridiculous. I just noticed if you try to do things with integrity and honest, you're probably never going to get rich. And it's frustrating when you see Christians. There are two people that don't go to the Wednesday lunch. Both of them have told me, I'm not going to go in there when they have preachers talking about God and the Word, when they're skimpy on the pay, and they treat us like a bunch of slaves. You know, there are some Christians who believe, just like the Bible says, when you see your brother or sister and they're without food or clothing, you say, go, I wish you well. That's what the surveys are for. They want to see what we're thinking. They want to come in at a safety meeting and say, we couldn't do it without you. Then pony up! Stop telling us that. Prove it. And that's why Americans, when you ask them how they're doing, I'm doing well. Every minute of every day. It's a game. And I don't fit in the game. I'm in a matrix and I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm more Indiana Jones. Give me that deuce and a half or 5 ton and let me go screaming across Jordan and go into Petra with it. Let me have a wild love story with a beautiful exotic woman somewhere and her long raven back hair spills down on the satin sheet behind her and goes, love me, Michael. Oh, no. Just like I said yesterday, I saw a shirt years ago. The front said it used to be wine, women, and song. Now it's beer, the old lady, and the TV set. I'm in the sunset years of my life. And I'm going to stop and not say what I want to articulate, except to say at my age, when I look around, it's depressing. And it makes me attracted to a younger. But the younger mentality is fried circuits. And so the next issue I have to address, you can forget about getting a wife or girlfriend. That's done. How do I get through this life? I wanted a house, so I bought me a house. I wish I could own nothing and be happy. That's being said by the clowns who want to control everything, so I don't listen to them. But I do know for a fact, for the Christian, the day is coming when we will own nothing and be happy. The New Jerusalem, no rent, no tax. You don't own any of it. It's the city of God. That's the kind of government I'm looking forward to. Because capitalism, democracy, republic, socialism, communism, it's failed. And it's failed because God's not in the equation. Many Christians feel comfortable screwing their employees and think that they're doing a service to God. Well, we gave them an extra day off with pay. How about if you raise our dollar amount? I'm watching people call out. I watched a grown man. He told everybody he's going to come in Friday. We have a problem in Augusta. It may go on in your town or city. When payday comes, people get a sickness called paydayitis, and they don't come in the very next day after payday. Companies need to get smart. Your paycheck will be deposited after midnight on Friday. I don't do that. The management and the bosses want you to have a good attitude and love what you do, and they don't realize, I don't love this. I'm disciplined to be a man and go to work. Michael, how do you like your new job? It sucks. It's hot. It's sweaty. It's heavy duty. Why can't I use the gift I have? How come YouTube, I can't make enough just through Cash App, like these other YouTube artists who really have nothing? I'm not putting the guy down. People are throwing all kinds of accusations at him, but I've watched him. I don't believe that the ice cream man is mentally ill. I don't believe that. I think he's smarter than most people realize. He's got people sending him money. He's got a following. Because you can't help but look at the ridiculousness of what he's doing. I was laughing yesterday. The breakfast train, waffles on the breakfast train. Then he said pig, and I sent a bunch of pig snouts in the room. It's funny. And I don't mean to mow malice. Sometimes I go there just to laugh at the ridiculousness of what he's doing. He's not doing the toilet seat anymore. And a comment by Americans. Clearly this guy's parents failed. There's something wrong with this. WTF? Why is he doing this? He has no moderators. He doesn't kick anybody out. The guy's frickin' brilliant. Brilliant. Me, I talk about serious issues and I get death threats. They're throwing money at him. People complaining when I wanted to turn off chat last winter because people were acting inappropriate in the room. None of them have donated a dime. And complaining. That me. Is my... You know, I've said the truth is not for sale. I don't charge for memberships. There was a guy that started a whole channel. Can't remember his name, but I commented on it early on when I started this. He's shaped like a human wedge. Got the cowboy hat, 6-packs, jet skis, the yacht. The guy was charging $50 or $49 a month for memberships. I looked at his memberships, and he was pulling in roughly $40,000 a month just on memberships. Casey Zander. First he come on there saying, you know, you can't get a date with women because women are messed up. Then he came back and tried a new tack. This is how you get a date with the hot woman. And I watch the guys in the comments. Based on what you're saying, I'll never be able to get a date. Because we got to suck up. We got to emasculate ourselves. And Casey, he's the kind of a man with all the toys, the cowboy hat, and the six-pack abs. I'm sure the women are just trailing after him. He's making a full-time living off of that channel. And what is he doing that's changing the world? Nothing. First he tells people you can't get a date, American women are hopeless. Now he's telling them the tricks to get a date. And the guy that I worked with the other day has gone on again, off again with this woman up in the office. And if she knew that he was sharing pictures where she's taking a selfie looking down her naked butt, and I look at her on Wednesday and I'm going, it is hard for me to believe that that nervous Nellie, who's got her back to everybody, is displaying herself that way with him. I'm actually glad that I've been made aware of this, because it just goes to show me, Michael, you have no idea what's going on in people's lives. And he told me Friday, I said, are you done messing around with that? He was complaining about her Thursday. Said she won't answer text but 5 hours later, but when I'm over here working and she's up there working, she wants to text me. I said, why are you texting me? You know I'm trying to work. And then he shared some of the texts with me. You're the first man I've been interested in since I went through that relationship with that other guy. And she's just dropping enough little crumbs to string his butt along. And he looked at me Friday. I said, don't tell me you're still going out tonight. Oh, we ain't going out. She's going to come over to my place and her lips are going to be right on my D-I-C-K. And I said, really? He said, I'm tired of it. They want to play games with me and I'll go along with it. But this time I'm going to get what I want. How do you like that, women? Wouldn't that make you a little concerned? I mean, me just hearing him say that, I said, why would you even do that? I said, you're 45, you're 15 years younger than me, I'm 60. I don't want to play games like that. Why do you play with this? You have sex with her, it's going to be regret. It ain't going to be sex. She can take care of me. And women, you better be careful. Because if anything happened Friday, I promise you that woman's going to be hurt and he's going to be... I'm just like, this is how you set up a case scenario for domestic abuse. I'm not in that world. I don't want to be in that world. It's crazy. And for you women that get on my channel and start talking to me about my platform and don't like what I have to say, I don't care. You praise me for telling the truth. Well, this is truth too, whether you want to hear it or not. But I didn't say all women are like that. So stop telling me that. I wish that my life was a movie. I wish my life could be like the character Pacific in The Voyage of the Microo. I wish that I could be sailing off the coast of the Philippines and looking at crystal clear water that's calm. Said, look, what's that shining down there? And Sakuri's a good swimmer. She can go deep. And she comes back and her wet hair spilling across her shoulders and she smiles, Michael, it's a Spanish galleon and there's gold all over the place. Really? I wish my life could be like that. But no, it's in a boring ass culture in a sweatshop with no air conditioning, hoping that you'll get a raise. I'm getting tired. I'm getting older. And as far as this earth is concerned, there's really nothing to look forward to but more drudgery and repair this, save up to buy a new air conditioner, save up to buy this. I can't even get a truck with an 8-foot bed. Now there's a price to pay for that. We took those for granted. You find a good 8-foot bed, they want $40,000 for it because, well, it's a classic, even though the engine's missing. It's a stupid world. And I just like, beam me up, Jesus. Yeah, I get discouraged. Listening to some of you on my channel and what you struggle with, it's just amazing to me, all of the struggles. Then you got politicians effing with us and bringing wokeism and letting the illegals come in. Then you work hard and you go home and got to listen to people's bullcrap so-called music. All I can say today, I go to church out of duty. I go to work out of duty. But there are times when I don't want to do either. And I've learned something about myself and men and women. I don't care who's listening to me. Everybody here is guilty psychologically of wanting a pick-me-up. It's like the boy that climbed up into the sleigh with that wicked queen of Narnia, or whatever she was, the witch. She is 100% pure evil, if you can put two terms together. She gives him a taste of that Turkish delight. He's hooked. In a society that burns out workers, in a society on Capitol Hill where we're being taxed without representation, people go to the liquor bottle, go to the weed, go to sexual follies. We're looking for a pick-me-up. We're looking for something that feels good, that anesthetizes the pain within all of us. And it doesn't work. It's so temporal. The orgasm feels good, but it don't last all day, every day. We need God, I need God. But what does God look like in a world like this? You go to church, and I'm going to tell you that when I walk into that church, I don't sense the presence of God with those people. I feel like I feel more the presence of God when I'm alone in this house and I have an epiphany with Him, or watch a thunderstorm than I do in a church. People get in the way of my worship. Women are a distraction in my life. And it's non-productive most of the time. I'm a fool who believes. It's just like when I was a kid. And I was so dumb. I was fascinated by magnets. I love magnets. Yeah, it's interesting. I always said this is steel. No, it ain't. The only thing it sticks to, this is not aluminum. So it's copper. So what is this? I bought this in Hong Kong. How come it doesn't stick to it? Fascinating. Stick to this old coffee pot, sticks to the fridge, sticks to the paintbrush. Huh. Fascinating. doesn't even stick to the stainless steel sink. I just assumed they would be magnetic. And if I try to put this center in the hole, it'll flip around. It will not stay the direction I have it. It'll flip around and do that. That's the way it is with men and women in our culture today. You see a woman, you move towards her, you're attracted, and she goes, boink! Repels. And that's life. And it's depressing. Welcome to my struggle, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't care what you think about black lipstick or pink lipstick or rouge on my face, and it doesn't really matter. At the end of time, I will stand before God and give an account for all of my foolishness, all of my hard work, all of my heart, all of the good I tried to do. And God will put all of that through His holiness and determine whether there's any rewards for me. Not anybody else. But I'm going to give you a teaser. People will threaten me and say some of the rude comments that they do. They fail to realize that they will give an account. If they're not a believer, people say, well, I'm not a Christian. The nasty things you say to me, God is going to remind you to your face about Michael Nelson and the way you treated me. Every woman, every man, every child, every senior, every boss, anybody you spoke ill of and you were out of line, God's going to deal with it. Every stop sign you ran, every time you didn't use your blinker and did this, you think you're so perfect. You come on and judge me because you think you got it all together. Wait till God deals with you. I think it'd be funny if God had a wall of clown heads and you come into the room and God says, I don't even think we need to go over this, bruh. And He starts pulling clown heads off the wall and just throws them at you. Get out. Clowns. All. You got people in our society, because they look in on me, they think, oh man, this guy's really good. Just your response proves you're broken. Because if you had it together, if you heard what I was saying, you'd be going, I don't know what he's been through, but he's obviously been through something. He's got a heart. I'm going to pray for him. But the meanness, the threats. You think because I'm wearing woman's clothes, you can kill me? And you think that that's well-adjusted thinking? Are you out of your mind? I don't care if somebody's trans or gay or likes wearing panties down the middle of Main Street. There's laws against that. You don't have the right to kill somebody. And this murder culture and this revenge culture and machismo culture, they can stuff that up their butt cheeks for all I care. God is the one who avenges. And you're sitting there saying you're a Christian and condoning violence against me. I think you missed the bus, buddy. I think that gospel bus came there and went, open the door. You failed to get on, the door shut, and it drove off. I don't like violence. And when I hear people talking violence, and those guys that are condemning me dressing like this, don't worry, little boy. I'm not looking at your butt cheeks in public. So before you think you got a right to kill me, I'm not into men. I'm not into guys. And you better wipe all of us out, because there's a growing number of people that are kind of throwing everything to the wind. And you know why this is happening? Because of women. That's part of it. Women don't date us. They don't mate us. They don't want us. They want to play games with our hearts. So does it really matter People say, you think you're going to get a date dressed like? I'm not going to get a date even if I wear a tux. The only way I can get a date is if two things happen in my life. I turn into a damn monster and get deeply into trouble with the law, then the women will want me. Then the rich white women from prison, ooh, I want a man like you. Or, I don't play the lottery, but say I won $400 million. And that was broadcast. Oh boy, you think I got problems? I would have to get on a plane and get the hell out of here right now. Because if they broadcast that, you know people are going to try to kill me. The crap bucket mentality, people will be so pissed. I don't want that problem. And if I won money like that, I sure as hell ain't going to make that known to anybody but my accountant. There's not even people in my life right now that I would tell that I had that money. I'd shut up about it. But the one thing I wouldn't do is buy all these hoopies and McMansions. I'd quietly leave Augusta and my job. I would call the city and say, I want to give my home to a family that needs it. It's moving ready, but it does need some things done to it. Then I want to sign it off. And I would find myself a truck that I've wanted to have. And I'd load up my stuff and go. I'd go visit my uncle, go get my remaining things there. I'd visit him for a few weeks in a small little mountain town in northeastern Washington and try to figure out where now? Where now? Some people think I'd leave the country. No, not necessarily. But with that kind of money, I wouldn't even make it known where I'm going. Everybody begin on, where are you at? Where are you at? None-ya, none-ya, none-ya. What do you do for a living? None-ya. You got a girlfriend? No, I've got a maid. I could go to the Philippines and live like a king on $1 million. I'd have a woman wanting to be my domestic helper, and I'd be like, no, I don't want you to be my helper. How about if you be my lover and my girlfriend? I think that's better. But guess what? I say what comes to my heart. And I thank God that there's Caucasian and black women and other women on my channel from the Caribbean and other places in the UK and Australia, New Zealand, and Canada that come on and don't get butthurt over what I say. Thank you for that. You know, you say you love truth. You know, it's not every single message that I give is going to be tailored to please every single viewing person out there. And then I got to deal with all the wolves out there that running their disgusting little mouths about me and my dressing and this and that. Just like that video clip. You're so stupid. Sometimes I get weary and so and go, what is there to look forward to? Oh, she's pretty. Ooh, no bra? Oh. I know I can't have it, but dang. We're not made to be wallpaper or cardboard boxes. I don't know when people are going to wake up to that fact. And when we become a Christian, all of a sudden we're supposed to be given this red brick and said, here, eat this, it's good for you. A brick? Yeah, it'll break my teeth off. Can't lust, can't do this, can't do that, can't do this, can't do this. Mike, you gotta cut your hair. We Southerners don't go, I don't care what you Southerners care about. You guys were the biggest clowns in America. You fought to keep slaves, not end it. Don't even get me started on the South. The most messed up part of America is right down here. And then you got people in New York that want to be slaves. And California to Democrats. and socialists and communists. And these all out of all these walks of life are coming on and criticizing me. I don't want to control anybody. I believe in the Constitution, and people need to govern themselves. And when they don't, they will be governed, and God will see to it. He's used nasty nations to deal with an enemy. Read it in the Bible. If America doesn't watch its butt, we could lose the farm. I find so many marriages are a trap. I see this older couple at church, he was crusty when I wasn't even talking to him. Stick to your day job, Mike. I'm sorry, what? Stick to your day job. And said it over and over again, and I should have turned around and said, hey, I don't know what you got against me, but I don't respect that. Get away from me. And we do live in a society, if you're not just like these people or this people, sucks to be me. I want to know why you got people threatening me on here and they believe in freedom. That's a big contradiction. Do Americans really believe in freedom? No, they don't. They believe in freedom for themselves, not for me or anybody that's different than them. Now we're getting somewhere. So is America really the land of the free, the home of the brave? No, we're the land of the idiots, the trolls, the rude, the satirical, the bitchs. We are one of the worst. I told you when I lived in Hong Kong, I could meet men and women from other cultures and they were all nice to me. In America, I don't get close to most men because they're buttholes. And they think they're all that on a stick. They think they're tough. Every man out there that runs their mouth at me has this automatic, oh, I could kick his butt. What if God stands in your way, big boy? Pea shooter. Boing! You forget that fact, don't you? I don't have to threaten nobody because I have myself and my Lord. And my Heavenly Father is capable of taking care of me. And if He lets me die, then apparently He wanted me up there. So, I don't know what to tell you. People rioting and tearing stuff up over issues out there. I tell people, these guys that claim to be so tough and want to threaten me, why is there so much wokeism and liberalism running the streets of America? Because these tough guys didn't do a damn thing. Because they're little pussies and cowards that run their mouth on the internet all day, and they're going to threaten to take me out because I have lipstick on. What'd you do to fight against this agenda of people changing their sex and trying to force parents to go along with it? Where were you, tough guy? You see, we have a nation of bullies. That's all they are. Where are all these men standing up to the women and the feminazism that's running our country? Where are they? Where are all these tough guys? Where are all these tough Republicans? Oh, I got my guns. Let them try to take my guns away. You didn't do anything. You let Biden win. You let Obama win. You let Clinton win. You haven't done anything. The school system controls everything. The media and Hollywood. What did you tough guys do? Not a damn thing. But they'll get on the internet and threaten me. And am I speaking the truth? If we can't get those likes to 100, then I'm a fail. You got to be kidding me. But if I was some little snotty, stuck-up girl getting on here doing this, oh boy, we're going to have 75,000 likes right now. Isn't that sad? That is what is going on in our culture. You got sex appeal, you got to pass. If you're Michael Nelson, did you see this clown on YouTube? Shit, man. Did you see this guy? I can see corporate people going, you got to hear this clown. Check this out. This guy's complaining about corporate America. This guy's wearing a dress and he's complaining, okay. How you doing, Bob? I'm doing well. Clowns and all. I don't look at society the way everybody else does. I don't need to. And you know what? That's why the prophets were threatened. The prophets had a finger on the pulse by God Almighty. I'm not a prophet. I'm just making a point. People say I should be a pastor. No, I shouldn't. I don't meet the qualifications. I do have a temper. I do cuss. I do lust. My mind is not pure. I don't believe I could ever get to the point in this world where my mind doesn't think a sexually inappropriate thought. And we spend a lifetime as men, oh, I had a lustful thought, oh, I masturbated. What kind of a way is that to live? It is what it is. Confess and move forward and find something to do. But we wallow in it and we go to men's groups and I need you to pray for me. I'm still struggling. You're going to struggle until your wiener don't work. You got a woman walking by dressed like this? I'm going to look. Oh, whoa, look at all that. Doesn't believe I think she's my girlfriend or marriage material. It makes my pee-pee happy. That's it. That's it. There's nothing there. I'm not going to look at that woman and go, oh, she's probably a really intellectual girl. No, she makes my pee-pee happy. That's it. There's nothing else to consider there. Because that's how they're walking around out there. And these grown men that want to tough talk me, they don't say anything about all these scantily clad, inappropriate dressed women and narcissists all over Facebook. All these little TikTok immature queens that sit in their bedroom and smart off their mom and dad, make a living so they can smart off their mom and dad and think they're a diva on TikTok. Nobody's dealing with this problem in America. And I can't even get 100 likes for this. Ice Cream Man gets more likes than I do. Pop-Tart Barbie gets more likes than I do. Why? The Ewu boyfriend of Ewu girl gets more likes than I do. Why? Now you got all the black women coming out leaning conservative. They got all the guys liking their channel. Why? Because they're pretty. They don't have any more content than I do. In fact, most of them are just regurgitating what everybody else has already said. I speak from the heart. They don't. The internet is not the gauge that our society should go on. We talk about viral. So what? Two black women getting in a fight in the projects can go viral. What does that prove? That our society's sick. Anybody wants to see two grown women fighting? Something ain't working up here. I crave intimacy. It's denied me, and it's been denied me my whole life. My first mother gave me up for adoption. No nurture. The second woman who adopted me, there was no nurture, loving, sweetness there at all. She was a cigarette smoking bitch, dragging on a cigarette, blowing it in my face, and wondering why I was colicky and why I was fussy and why I was so high energy, and she spent the rest of her life complaining about how bad Michael was. You should have never been allowed to adopt a damn kid. I was a kid. I didn't understand what was going on. I couldn't articulate like I do now. That's why I stand up to these trolls. They're a-holes. And YouTube is full of shit. They don't do anything about it. We got a video still standing that's threatened bodily harm against my first, middle, and last name. YouTube is not taking it down. Let me say anything that crosses the line of their imaginary community standards, and I'm done. Social media doesn't care if I got killed. They only care about the ones that are capable of getting an attorney and suing their ass. Your workplace doesn't care about you until an attorney's involved. Or a possible threat. My battery went dead in the truck. I went out to start one day and it didn't. I'm like, doggone it. I get up and leave early, so I went to work, got to work on time. Told my supervisor, he goes, they can probably have a battery delivered here and you can just pay the secretary. And they had an account with an auto place for the batteries. And I clocked out. They let me use the company truck to go get it, and I paid the price that they were charged, which was cheaper than if I'd have gone in there just as Joe Blow. And I appreciated that. And I told them, thank you for that. That helped me. They said, well, you're a good worker. They didn't have to do for me, and I appreciated that. And people say, well, why are you complaining your wages? Well, because we do work. And we should get compensated. Definitely more fairly, especially when we've made more money for them. And I'm going to say something about capitalism. It's not going to set right with people who scream and yell about socialism, communism. I will never support socialism, communism. They have historically failed. But it needs to be said. This capitalism that Christians embrace is greed also. Making sure you can corner the market for as much wealth for yourself while you got the people that made you rich. And I was told that one of the owners is still there. He's turned the control over to his son and made him the president. And the other joint owner turned it over to his two sons. And I like the man, but there's a certain amount of deep in my heart going, you know what? This guy made a lot of money unethically. My supervisor started 6 years ago. They only paid $10 an hour for the work that we're doing. I said, that is just wrong. The South pays less, but for this ain't McDonald's. You can go to Parker's, the gas station, and they start at 15 or, and I think Buc-ee's. Somebody said they're paying like 21 or 25 bucks an hour. A convenience store is paying better than a damn warehouse? The hell? My friend sent me something for the railroad is hiring for $97,000 a year. It would necessitate me going to Atlanta for 3 or 4 weeks. They'd pay me $2,900 every 2 weeks, which would be more than I've ever made. But then when you're done, you go to Alaska. And you'll be running a remote control and moving a locomotive around to hitch up cars and stuff and inspecting cars. But what you don't know is I'm 60, and what you don't know is you might have to start your shift at 2 in the morning when it's 35 below and a blizzard outside and you got to come in and work the railroad yards. You know, I'm not 20-something. And then the housing in Alaska is very poor. You got to get your own housing, and they provide no stipend for that. You got to move your butt up there. So I'd have to move up there, start the job, get a place to live, and if they decide in a week I don't work out, now you're jacked. Oh no, you don't want to be jobless in Alaska. And the cost of living in Alaska is high. That's being advertised down here because the training's in Atlanta. I don't know too many people that are going to jump on that. And at 60, I can't just do stuff like that. You don't just sell your house and say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. The fact I'm 60 will probably be, I'll be screened right out of it. Because they know he's 60 years old. We're not going to hire him. He's on the way out. "13 likes away from 100. Come on, folks, let's get it to 100. We got to do this. I've noticed the views have been very low. It's really weird how the YouTube algorithm makes. I think of a giant octopus inside of a jukebox. This arm picks up this and puts it down and plays it. And I've noticed it's been skipping me lately. I'll be doing a video to show 150 at a time watching, and you get done and there's only 400 views. You're like, algorithms. It's weird what YouTube does. They work against us. But then they'll put the Twiggy fake blonde dyed hair with 1 inch of breast meat out there doing this, and there's 75,000 watchers and there's 100,000 likes. Like, oh my gosh. Is it because she has content? No, it's soft PORN. That's all it is. And you get bonus points if you're not wearing a bra. People, a woman said, I liked watching you, but you're creepy. And I wrote her back, I said, that's not even a nice comment at all. Not even nice, and it didn't need to be said, and I'm not creepy. I said, if I'm creepy, you certainly don't know what the definition of creepy is. And it amazes me how cruel even some of the channel watchers are. That is not the definition of creepy. Jeffrey Dahmer is, Bundy is, Charles Manson, Ted Kaczynski, Timothy McVeigh, Al Capone. Al Capone is creepy as hell. And yet American society romances the hell out of the gangsters and the mob. I don't understand why some of you women have been on this channel for a long time and now all of a sudden I'm creepy. I put on the lipstick a while ago. I put on the feminine clothes a while ago. What gives? And then you force me to study your photo. I zero in on it and go, okay, yeah, this is who's judging me. Huh, she's not a 10. She's not somebody that I have to have in my life on a beauty scale. And you make me do that. When you criticize so deeply like that, it makes me objectively go back and look at you again. I'm competing today to get a woman. I'm competing against the following things to get a date that women are addicted to: weed, alcohol, cigarettes, vape. Those 4 are huge. Their obsession with dogs. If I want to get a date with a woman, I have to tolerate and allow all that. Then the Starbucks mentality, then the SUV mentality, then the Netflix and all these bills and all these things that they think they have to have. That's what I'm competing against. So it's better if I die alone in my house and a week goes by and the flies start finding a way to come in because of the smell. Who cares? Who cares? That's the America that I live in today.